3.2 Aggression in Sport, Sid Middleton-Lee.
Did you see Maguire's tackle on Saturday? It was so aggressive. Salah could have been badly injured. I think he was lucky to be able to walk off the football pitch. What's your opinion on this?
Well, his tackle wasn't actually aggressive, because according to Bull, he said that the definition of aggression is any behaviour that is intended to harm another individual by physical or verbal means. So, although his tackle was very physical, it wasn't aggressive, as his main priority was to get the ball and play to the rules. However, if he did intend to hurt the player, then it would have been a very aggressive tackle. In addition to this, Gill created four criteria for an action to be aggressive. They are physical or verbal behaviours causing harm to others or injuries, directed at another living being, and it also has to be intentional. So, going back to the tackle from Maguire, although it was a physical tackle and it did cause harm to Salah, who is another human being on the pitch, his main intent was to get the ball and play within the rules of the game. If someone kicks a fence, this also won't be aggressive, as according to the criteria, it has to be towards another living person. Going back to the tackle in the match, therefore, it wouldn't have been aggressive. There are also other actions that wouldn't count as aggression. For example, thinking negatively towards another person. This is not aggression, as aggression is a behaviour.
Okay, but aren't there also many different types of aggression in sport that are all different?
Yes, there are many types. First type is hostile aggression. This aggression is when someone wants to dominate the situation that they are in. This is by performing violent actions that can harm someone, and there is no competitive benefit towards their actions. Their main aim is to harm someone. An example of this could be in rugby, when someone tackles above the waist in order to hurt someone and not gain an advantage. Another type of aggression is instrumental aggression. This is when someone wants to achieve a competitive goal, but they use aggression to gain advantage. Their actions will intend to harm someone, and it is not in the rules of the game. For example, in rugby again, stopping someone by getting a try by tackling above their waist. This could be because they want to achieve success or other factors such as fame, money, or victory. This definition was thought of by Todd, Thatcher, and Rahman in 2010. Assertive aggression is another one of the main types of aggression. This type of aggression is when a player will play within the rules of the sport but at a high intensity. They will also have no intent to harm the other opponent. This is according to Bredemere. This can be identified when they have no intention to harm another and it's within the rules. This is normally when they want to be more forceful when carrying out their actions. In football, this could be a very physical slide tackle, but they get the ball before tackling the opponent. One final type of aggression is reactive aggression. This is evoked due to the threat or frustration from another person. For example, squaring up to someone in ice hockey after a bad tackle.
Are there any other factors that can affect aggression in sport?
Aggression can also depend on the nature of sport. This because in different sports, aggression can be interpreted differently depending. This was said by Wiggins James et al. 2006. This is called sanctioned aggression, as they still intend to harm another person, but the actions is within the rules of the sport. An example of this is when comparing boxing to tennis. In boxing, punching your opponent is a vital component of the sport. However, in tennis, punching is unacceptable and it would be considered very aggressive. Another factor that can affect aggression is the role of the head coach. The coach can impact both hostile and instrumental aggression. This could be for many reasons, from instructing people to be more aggressive and causing harm to the opponent by instructing them to tackle more, or another way is by asking them in a halftime team talk to be more aggressive. This would make them more aggressive to win the match and tackle more, making them perform more aggressive. Another example of this could be if a footballer gets a yellow card in the first half of a match. The coach might encourage the player to be less aggressive and decrease the chance of them displaying either hostile or instrumental aggression, as they might get a red card if they continue to play like that. One final factor is the experience of the player. For example, Cologne and Vista in 1998 conducted a study looking into aggression at high-level sport. They found that players with high levels of experience used more instrumental aggression. They also found that they would use it to their advantage and display less hostile aggression. They also found that experienced athletes use self-control to help them cope with aggression. This could be such as counting to 10 or deep breaths to calm down the person. This would suggest that more experienced players would get less sanctions against them.
Why might athletes become aggressive then?
There might be many reasons for aggression in sport. One of them could be that there is the pressure to win. This might cause someone to be aggressive, as they might perform things against the rules in order to win. For example, in ice hockey, an athlete might trip up someone when they are through on goal in order to stop them from scoring. This would be a type of instrumental aggression, as they have gained a reward from it in the form of the opponents not scoring. Another reason for aggression in sport could be due to previous ill feelings in the previous match. This could cause someone to be more aggressive, as there is an increased pressure as there is likely to be a rivalry. For example, in football, this could be Brighton versus Crystal Palace. For example, the players might become more aggressive in order to prevent them from losing, so they might perform more aggressive slide tackles or more likely to square up to someone. Other factors that can influence aggression could be such a chance from the opponents. This could increase the likelihood of someone displaying reactive aggression, either towards the players or the fans. This could be getting into a fight with an opposing team member or into a fight with the crowd. However, sometimes aggression doesn't have to be outside the rules. This is seen in the cases of sports such as MMA, as the main aim of the sport is to harm and be aggressive to the opponent. However, this could lead to people copying the behavior, which is another cause of aggression. This could be because a young child might watch MMA and then try to recreate it on their friends or opponents in their own match. Therefore, they would be aggressive towards another person.
Well, clearly people aren't born being aggressive, or are they? How do people learn to become aggressive?
Well, there are also many explanations to why people might become aggressive. One theory is the instinct theory. This was initially from Freud and later then developed by Lorenz. This is when someone has an instinct drive. Furthermore, they also suggested that it's inevitable that an athlete will become aggressive, as it will build up over time and then will finally be expressed. This theory suggests that behavior is predictable. They can either display their anger in a socially acceptable way, for example punching a punch bag in a boxing training session, or they can also display it in a socially unacceptable way, such as attacking someone on a rugby pitch in order to release their aggression. They can displace their anger by directing it at an object or a target, such as a footballer could kick a football as hard as they can after their training, in order to release their anger rather than releasing it on another person. However, there are criticisms of this theory. For example, players don't often show the same levels of aggression in society as away from their sport. This means that they would be less likely to show it in their sport as they're professional in it. Following on from this, there has been no innate aggressive characteristics have ever been found. So there's no scientific evidence that will support this theory.
Isn't there a chance that some people just watch and learn aggressive behaviours?
Yes, there is a very big chance. This is also known as the social learning theory. This theory was created by Bandura STL in 1966. They suggested that behaviours are learnt when they observe the actions of a significant other, such as a role model or a parent. They will then recreate this action by copying them, and then it will be reinforced in their memory or by watching it over again. An example of this could be as in a spectator in football. This could be because an adult starts to swear at the referee or other players. A child will then observe this, and as they are significant to them, they would be more likely to repeat it and copy it in their own sport or when observing another event. However, similar to other theories, there are many criticisms. One criticism is that people won't always copy someone or what they see. For example, if a rugby player tackles someone above the waist, and it gets a favourable reaction from the crowd, it doesn't necessarily mean that a young child will go and recreate it in their own game. In addition to this, people can also copy good behaviours, so it's not seen as a negative theory. An example of this could be if a hockey player gets injured and the other team go over to help them by giving them a hand up. Someone then might copy this, and it is a positive thing, as we should encourage it. Following on, Bandura in 1973 suggested that aggressive behaviour away from sport is more likely to be demonstrated by those in contact sports than those who aren't. This suggests that contact sports can cause aggression, as they are more likely to observe someone getting hurt or making contact. The penultimate theory is the frustration-aggression theory. This is when someone's competitive goal gets blocked, and they will become frustrated because of this. This was suggested by Dollar et al. In 1939. This theory suggests that when someone is frustrated, it will cause them to become aggressive. If the aggression is released successfully, it's called cathartic release. But if it's not released, and more frustration will be generated. This theory suggests that frustration is caused because someone has blocked a goal they want to achieve. This block can cause them to become frustrated, and then when it has built up, it will become aggression. This will then lead to success or no success. An example of this could be in football, when someone performs a bad tackle on you, and you become frustrated, and then it will build up. However, later in the game, you'll then respond by doing a bad tackle on them later on, so you'll get punished with a yellow card. This would cause a footballer to build up more frustration and therefore more aggressive, as they would feel like they're being treated unfairly. However, there is little support for this theory, which suggests that when someone is frustrated, it will definitely cause them to become aggressive. Following on from this, it doesn't account for individual differences that might cause them to become aggressive. For example, people might have different ways of coping with frustration that will make them less likely to release it in an aggressive way, such as counting to 10 or walking away from the situation, whereas others might just release all their aggression at once. The final theory is the aggressive cue theory. This was suggested by Kozwich in 1969, who built on the frustration-aggression hypothesis. They suggested that aggression only occurs when it is triggered by an environmental cue or stimulus. In addition to this, it suggested that frustration creates a readiness for aggression and will increase arousal levels. After the arousal levels have increased, there is the presence of an aggressive cue, then it will increase the chance of someone becoming aggressive. But in the absence of an aggressive cue, there was a decreased chance of someone becoming aggressive. An example of this could be in cycling, where the cue is someone cutting across in front of you and preventing you from moving forward. This would cause someone to become frustrated and therefore aggressive. However, just like the other theories, there are criticisms. For example, it doesn't suggest how someone has learned to become aggressive in their actions. Therefore, it doesn't suggest why people will become aggressive.